Science is meant to be a beacon of progress, a quest for knowledge to better the human condition. But what happens when that quest ignores morality? What happens when curiosity turns into cruelty? And the lab coat is used to hide a monster in the name of progress. Some of the most disturbing, unethical human experiments in history were conducted, not by mad scientists in castles, but in esteemed universities and by government agencies. These weren't just about testing a hypothesis, they were often twisted studies in dark psychology, relying on deception, manipulation, and the absolute abuse of power. Today, we're opening the files on 3 of them. First, we go to Stanford University in 1971. Psychologist Philip Zimbardo wanted to study the power of social situations on behavior. He created a mock prison in the basement of the psychology building and recruited a group of ordinary, healthy male students. They were randomly assigned to be either prisoners or guards. The experiment was supposed to last for 2 weeks. It didn't even last one. Within days, the students assigned as guards became sadistic and authoritarian, devising cruel and humiliating punishments for the prisoners. The prisoners, in turn, became passive, helpless, and emotionally broken. The situation became so toxic, so psychologically damaging, that the experiment had to be shut down after just 6 days. The Stanford prison experiment became a terrifying lesson in how easily good people can be made to do evil things simply by giving them power and a uniform. But what happens when the experimenters aren't just university psychologists, but the CIA itself? Welcome to Project MKUltra. From the 1950s to the 70s, at the height of the Cold War, the CIA became obsessed with the idea of mind control. They wanted to create a truth serum, to weaponize hypnosis, and to break the human mind. To do this, they conducted thousands of secret experiments on unwitting American citizens. They dosed people in hospitals, prisons, at universities with high levels of LSD without their consent. They subjected them to sensory deprivation, psychological torture, and verbal abuse. The full extent of these horrors will never be known because in 1973, the director of the CIA ordered most of the MKUltra files destroyed. It remains one of the most infamous examples of systemic, unethical human experiments ever conducted by a government against its own people. And sometimes, the cruelty isn't in the action, but in the inaction. For 40 years, from 1932 to 1972, the U.S. Public Health Service conducted the Tuskegee Syphilis Study. They recruited 600 impoverished African American men, telling them they were receiving free health care. In reality, the researchers were deliberately withholding treatment for syphilis from them, just to study the disease's brutal, long-term progression. They watched as the men suffered, went blind, became incapacitated, and died, all in the name of data. These stories are grim, but they are essential to remember. They are the dark side of our relentless pursuit of knowledge. They show us that the greatest danger isn't always a new discovery, but the systems that allow our own humanity to be forgotten. The legacy of these unethical human experiments is a permanent stain on our history, a stark warning of what happens when the ends are used to justify any means. What do you think is more dangerous? A scientist with no morals, or a system that allows and encourages them to operate? Share your thoughts respectfully in the comments. And if you believe it is crucial to learn from the darkest chapters of our past, hit that like button and subscribe to Awakening Curiosity.